That's a clown question, bro.
Hi, what's up on you?
So I'm gonna kick some dirt.
He gets on base.
Just a bit outside.
I'm not the type of player that's going to be Johnny Hustle.
If you don't want me to watch the ball, you can go get it out of the ocean.
And welcome to the show to be named later, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever, Mondays and Thursdays. I'm your host, Christianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing real well this week. We got some more baseball to talk about, as always. It's been a minute. We've had you've had some power outages. We've had some conflicts. But we are back to talking about baseball. I'm glad it's finally back.
Yeah, some weird stuff. Tropical storm Isaias came around, took some trees out, and messed up the week a little bit. I've been a little off the grid. But yeah, it's been a pretty fun week of baseball going on. I think we're at this point we're kind of seeing the identity of teams right now. You know, we're about a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah,
at least
most teams played 15 games already.
Yeah. So, at this point, in a regular season, it would be halfway through May. It would have been a month and a half of baseball. This has been about 3 weeks. So now we're kind of seeing the direction things might take. Very, very interesting week of baseball. But the first thing we have to address, something that happened, I think it was Monday. Mike Soroka tore his Achilles and is out for the season for the Braves. A huge, huge blow to that Braves team, which was definitely going to be a contender in the postseason and still can be.
This one hurts, Chris. This is the last thing you want to see if you're the Braves.
Yeah, you want
anyone else to go down but him. This is a guy who like 24, 25 years old. He's still very young. He worked his way into being the ace of that rotation. Was in the Cy Young voting last year, finished third in the Rookie of the Year. Or was he second? He was second in the Rookie of the Year voting last year. But this is a guy who's worked really, really hard to get to where he's at. And, I mean, if you saw the play that he got injured on, it was one of those where you just knew right as it happened, this ain't good.
Yeah, it was weird. I was watching that game because it was DeGrom and Soroka, a matchup you want to see. And it was their second matchup against each other. And I saw the play and I was like, that's weird. That's gotta be a crazy injury if he just kind of let out like that. And it was, and that's terrible. And that was the head of your staff, and Mike Foltynewicz is not the person that I thought he was going to be, or the player that
nobody thought he was going to be like this. Yeah,
and he's back down to AAA because I think his fastball velocity went way down, and for the rest of the staff, I mean, you lost Julio Teheran in the offseason, which is a blow, and then I guess you got Max Fried and a few other guys. Who?
That kind of takes a lot. Yeah, that takes a lot of depth out of your rotation. I mean, that's their guy. That's your ace. They're playing a doubleheader today. Max Fried, the guy you just mentioned, is actually on the bump right now as we speak. And I mean, they've kind of had to reach a little bit. Thankfully the Braves have the luxury of having some good pitching prospects. They kind of went bullpen game in the first half of this doubleheader that they had today. I'm trying to look at who else they've had go recently.
You got
Kyle Wright pitched yesterday. I was kind of hoping that they would take the Soroka injury as an opportunity to call up Ian Anderson, who of course it was my guy to look for on the Braves, fellow 518 guy just like me. But they did not do that. And, I mean, hopefully he can get recalled at some point. I do think with the lack of rotation depth that they have as of this point without Soroka, you probably could see it at some point.
They did acquire Cole Hamels. I'm trying to think. Has Cole Hamels been on the hill at all? Because I don't recall seeing him.
He's been hurt.
He's injured.
But they've still been winning games, though, to their credit.
Yeah,
They've been pressing. They're in first. Aside from the Marlins, who we'll talk about later, they are in line for a playoff spot as of now. They're 10-6, up to nothing on the Phillies right now. So it definitely is encouraging to see the Braves still moving right along, or just keeping the line moving without their guy at the top of that rotation.
Yeah, especially teams will lose guys periodically throughout the season, but when it's your pitching staff, it's a huge blow, especially in a season like this when guys are still kind of working up to full strength because they had a shortened spring training. So guys are still, trying to work to full strength. So you need as much pitching depth as possible. And when you have a guy like Mike Soroka and a guy who can eat innings like him, you have him hit the injured list, that's going to be a huge blow. But they've seemed to work their way around it. And I mean, who have they faced? They faced the Mets.
They faced the Blue Jays this week. They have the Phillies this weekend. They do have young guys like Sean Newcomb and Tuki Toussaint who have been able to step up for them in Soroka's absence. But, those guys, you really have to question. I mean, it is only a 2-month season, so it's not like they have to grind it out for 6 months, luckily. But how long can they hold this rotation together, and can they get them through the playoffs without Soroka? Because Soroka was very good for the Braves last year in the playoffs, too.
Yes, he was. And, Tuki Toussaint has kind of made a step up. I think he was at one point, I think he was like a top 100 prospect in baseball.
Yeah, they had a lot of pitching prospects. They had Colby Allard, who's on the Rangers now, who looked good yesterday. They traded him for Chris Martin. They had him. They had Tuki Toussaint. They had Newcomb was even a top prospect. Right now they have Ian Anderson. They had Soroka, who was a top 100 prospect at the time. The Braves have had a lot of big pitching prospects in the recent years, and Soroka has kind of established himself as the guy who can be that ace moving forward, and that's they're going to have to do it without him for this year.
Yeah, I mean, like Soroka last year, he had a 2.68 ERA, and his ERA plus must have been more impressive because
it was 169.
His ERA plus was 169 last year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, and that's a guy doing that in his rookie year. That's quite exceptional. Even if the fielding independent pitching isn't like matched up.
Chris, I'm sorry. It was 171. My bad. Mike Soroka, I'm sorry to give you short change on that one. His ERA plus was 171.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, he had a 171 ERA plus last year, and as a rookie, and even if the fielding independent pitching is a little off, it's exceptional still. And he was the best pitcher on a team that was back-to-back National League East champs, and tough blow. Hopefully he'll be
especially
able to
when they're a team that was looking to make a jump past the first round of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, big time. And in a 3-game series, which is how the playoffs are going to start this year, not having an ace like Soroka is really going to show.
I was talking. Go ahead. Yeah, I was talking with someone this weekend about that 3-game opening series. And, if a team has 2 really good pitchers, they're pretty much set. Like, starting pitchers, imagine if you go against the Tampa Bay Rays, you have to face Charlie Morton, Tyler Glasnow, and Blake Snell. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, nobody wants that. I mean, the Indians are a team that I'm thinking of. I mean, if they
Shane Bieber, Mike Clevenger, Aaron Savale,
even if they're
Carrasco.
Even if they're a 7th or 8th seed, I mean, Bieber and Clevenger or Savale could work himself to the number 2 role.
those guys could compete against anyone.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And I'm thinking, the Yankees, they have Cole, but their number 2 starter might be a question mark. So that might be a disadvantage in a 3-game series, but their offense is still amazing. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun when we get there. But the Mike Soroka injury, very unfortunate for especially Braves fans and the league as a whole, you hate to lose a young pitcher like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can get back on the horse in 2021. Some more bad news coming from St. Louis. Continued postponements. They have still yet to play a game since, what was it, the first week of the season?
They've played 5 games so far. They're 2-3. By the way, while we're still on the topic of the Braves, I know we're not, but Ronald Acuna just hit his second home run of the doubleheader.
Oh, there we go. That's pretty huge.
Went Oppo off Spencer Howard.
There we go. Ronald Acuna. Are you 2-screening it right now?
I am. I got the Angels and Rangers on one screen. Is Rafael Montero closing it out again? No, I don't think that's him. I don't think it is. But yeah, the Rangers. Okay, we'll discuss the Rangers later because I have a point on them. But yeah, I mean the St. Louis Cardinals. While we're there, they're 2-3, while the Yankees are 10-6. So.
Yeah, that's what I would call
Slightly alarming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, being 2-3, I think a lot of people don't realize, for specifically the Cardinals, because I think at this point, their hiatus has been longer than the Marlins, right? Is that correct? Or at least it's close to it.
Yeah, it's been longer than the Marlins and the Phillies.
So they're gonna have to play so many doubleheaders in the next 2 months or so, maybe not even 2 months, like a month and a half. It's gonna wear them out, and it's gonna cause a lot of deprivation on their team, which it sucks because that's a team that was supposed to compete. You have Jack Flaherty heading that rotation. You have a pretty good lineup, good bullpen as well. It sucks that this team is really going to be worn out by the amount of doubleheaders they're going to have to play because of a couple guys going out to a casino. So I think it really shows the magnitude of how much, the outbreaks can cause among teams.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up because, especially, these double headers, Jack Flaherty is, coming from last year, one of the hottest pitchers on the planet, and he can only go every 5 days, and you might be playing 7 games in 5 days, so you're not getting him every 5 games, you're getting him every 5 days. So that definitely puts them behind the 8 ball there.
Yeah, I mean, in a short season, you don't have the luxury of being able to spread your doubles headers out over 5 months. You have 2 months, and you have how many games have they missed? Like 7 or 8? That's 8 double headers you're going to have to play in the next month and a half, pending any rain delays you have, pending any more games you have to miss. Because guess what? The week ahead, their series against the Pirates, that's canceled too. So that's 3 more games you're going to have to make up to the double headers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it's I guess it's fortunate and unfortunate that it's only one team, so that it only really affects them and I guess the teams they're facing, but not to as much of a degree as the Cardinals. Like the Cubs will only have to play 1 or 2 double headers, but the Cardinals are going to have to play so many double headers.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, that's gonna wear them out, like I said. And also, you talking about the other teams that they're playing, that actually leads me to my next point. Do you want to know, between the Marlins and Cardinals outbreaks, do you want to know how many teams have had their schedules altered because of this whole thing?
14.
14, not as much. 11 still. 11 teams have had their schedule. I have the list of teams right here. The Marlins, Cardinals, Phillies, Yankees, Orioles, Pirates, Cubs, Brewers, Blue Jays, Nationals, and Tigers have all had their schedules altered due to 2 teams, just 2 teams out of those 2, or out of those 11, that screwed up. And now the whole league is sort of shifting. Like the Pirates are going to have to play 3 doubleheaders that they didn't ask to be played. The Cubs are going to have to do the same. The Yankees made theirs up, luckily. The Phillies made theirs up as well. But there's plenty of other teams out there that still have to make up a ton of games that they didn't, which, it sucks for them because they did nothing wrong. And now they're subjected to doing all this in such a short amount of time.
yeah, the effect of these outbreaks are spreading like a virus.
Well,
But but yeah, it is funny that it's like, oh, it's 2 teams and it's spread out to 11 teams, kind of like a virus, how that works out, full circle there. But what we talk about the Cardinals and the Marlins as examples of teams doing the wrong thing, but the Cleveland Indians are doing the right thing. I believe you have more details on this story. This is very interesting and probably an example. The Indians are setting an example by what they are doing.
So Jeff Passan put out a tweet just before we started recording that said, quote, "Ken confirmed that the Indians sent home starter Zach Plesac after he violated the team's rules by leaving the hotel to go out in Chicago," as The Athletic reported. "Cleveland has been extremely stringent with protocols, and this action is a warning to their players and perhaps others." And I love this. Like, this is the Indians doing the right thing. Zach Plesac is a difference maker on your team. He's been striking a lot of guys out. And, as we mentioned, in their rotation, that's another guy that fills their depth. But, they are making no exceptions. And, you can't be leaving your hotel. You can't be going out. As much as it sucks and as much as you want to, like, you got to stick to the protocols. And, you don't want to cause another outbreak and cause more teams to go off the grid. I mean, imagine being the Chicago Cubs right now. Like, how mad could you be? Like, your team is playing really well. You have one of the best records in the National League. You have a big series coming up against another competitor in your division. At the last minute, oh, sorry, guys, we got to pack it up for the weekend. Like, we got to get out of that routine that we were doing really well in. We got to start again, build new momentum.
Yeah, it is funny because, that momentum is very huge. And I remember when that new playoff proposal was announced in like January or November. I forget when it was like 14 teams and the 1 seed would wait like a week.
Yeah. And Trevor Bauer was off about that.
Yeah, he talked about how important it was to be on an everyday routine for the team. He was saying that bye for a baseball team is a punishment. So, the Cubs right now, I mean, it's not a playoff situation, but the Cubs, they're 10-3. I think they have the best record in the National League. Like wins wise. And all of a sudden they have to come to a halt. Everything that's working for them comes to a halt, and they have like a 4 days of just nothing because of what's going on in St. Louis.
Chris, I got some good news. Your guy, AJ Pollock, just hit a 3-run home run to put the Dodgers in front.
There we go. Shout out to Hebron, Connecticut.
That's right.
The Hebron Fair. Hebron Fair is a good fair. I will say. I've enjoyed it.
He just put the Dodgers on top. Do you have any other points about this whole Zach Plesac thing? I mean, I think the Indians are doing the right thing, and I think it sends a message out to the players, even if that message wasn't sent due to the outbreaks already.
It's I mean, I like it because no matter what the players are doing, I want the spread of this among the league to stop, so that baseball is still being played for the entire season. Not just for the health of the general public, but I want this baseball to still be happening because the threat of the season has already loomed over us, but it looks like we're still going. And with the Indians doing stuff like this, they definitely help that case out. And the next topic that we have, the Miami Marlins, as we have mentioned before, they're doing like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know even who is kind of the conductor of this crazy run that they're on. I think did they win or lose today?
They lost to DeGrom, but no shame in that.
Okay, so they were at one point 7-1, and now they're 7-3. And I said
7-3. Yeah, you're right. Still,
I I put in the notes, I said, Marlins pulling a 2019 Mariners on us, because I'm thinking maybe, we know how the Mariners started last year. They were 13-2, and then they ended up being in last place. And I'm feeling like the Marlins might just be doing that to us.
Well, see, here's what can counter the Marlins doing that. One, they don't have 150 games after this really good start to then come back down to earth and then easily come in last. And they have an 8-team playoff format. They can finish in third in their division and still be fine. In this run, so at the beginning of the season, their Fangraphs odds to make the playoffs were 9%. Coming into this weekend against the Mets, they were up to 20%. And, they are an interesting team now. Like, they are a quarter of the way through the season. The Marlins are in the playoff format. They are first in the division also, pending a Braves win in the second game, I believe. I think the Braves could move into first. But you got to keep your eye out on Miami right now. Like, it is close enough to the postseason where you could seriously consider them legitimate candidates.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep this kind of good streak going for a few more weeks, I mean, the odds of them being in the playoffs is very good. It's a very, very interesting way of their winning games. Sometimes it's a dominant pitching performance. Sometimes it's a dominant offensive performance.
I have a couple notes.
They're fun to watch, and they're doing this off of what I imagine would be a very depleted roster, because a lot of those guys tested positive for COVID-19 and they're not playing right now. But they seem to be doing something. Something seems to be working for Miami so far in 2020.
So I have a few notes on the Marlins. For one, they have used 41 players so far this season. There are 41 people who have made appearances for this team. 27 of them are pitchers, I believe. The rest are position players, which is hilarious. It might be more than that even. But yeah, 41 players that have been used. And I have two offensive catalysts for them. One of them is Jesus Aguilar. He hit a home run today against DeGrom that went to the moon. And he upped his OPS to 1036. And the other guy I want to talk about is sort of almost like the face of the Marlins throughout this entire rebuild. It's been Brian Anderson. He is a third baseman who's been, exceptional for them. And I think he can continue to grow. And this year especially, he's hitting 303, 410, 545 with a 956 OPS. Also, with runners in scoring position, he is 5 for 8 with a triple and a home run. That equates with everything else to a 1917 OPS.
1917. That is the year that, of course, Shoeless Joe Jackson won his first and only World Series against.
Right, and it's also Brian Anderson's OPS with runners in scoring position.
That is also Brian Anderson's OPS with runners in scoring position. Is that for the whole year?
That is for the whole 10 games or so.
There we go. Quality stuff there. If you want to listen to the Shoeless Joe Jackson episode, it is part 1 of episode 39. It's available on all platforms. But yeah, the Marlins, because of guys like that, having a nice hot streak.
Yeah, the Marlins have forced us to pay attention to them. We have to now. We have to care. There's no excuse.
Yeah. I mean, we got to do it. They were not looked at positively before the season for good reason, but now we got to check them out. We got to keep one eye open on the Marlins this year. Some other teams, another team that is having a hot streak was kind of expected to do well, maybe not as well as they are doing right now, but the Oakland Athletics, as of right now, as of this recording, they have an 8-game winning streak. They are 11-4, and they are leading the American League West by a good margin, I believe.
And they are currently leading the Houston Astros 6-2 in the bottom of the 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty big, especially, I mean, the Astros. Sweeping the Astros, that's huge, especially when they're only facing them.
I've ever seen one.
What was that again?
That's a banger of a weekend if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that would be That's
That's not trash at all.
definitely not trash.
Yeah.
Definitely a banger. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Athletics. So you had notes in the Marlins. I've got some good notes on the Athletics. Do you have any good notes in the Athletics?
I do have a couple of notes. I'll let you go first, though.
So on this winning streak, and of course, we are recording at about 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. So this could be a 9-game winning streak, and all the stats could be different. But coming into Sunday, they had an 8-game winning streak. On their winning streak, their 1.87 team ERA ranks second, and their 2.41 team FIP leads the league. And specifically, their bullpen has been excellent. On their winning streak, on this 8-game winning streak coming into Sunday, their 0.90 bullpen ERA and 1.43 bullpen FIP both led the league. And this is coming in 30 innings pitched from their bullpen. And if you want to go based individually, Frankie Montas on the starting staff, he's gone 14 innings pitched, allowed 1 run, and allowed a 380 OPS against him. Liam Hendricks, the closer for the Athletics, on this 8-game winning streak coming into Sunday, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts, no walks, and also 4 saves. Joakim Soria has been excellent, 4 2/3 innings pitched, no runs, 10 strikeouts during this 8-game winning streak.
How about that?
Coming into Sunday. Jake Diekman, 4 innings pitched, no runs, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts. And JB Wendelken, he's gone 4 innings pitched and allowed no earned runs. He's allowed 1 unearned run, but no earned runs. So they've been excellent as a bullpen and as a general pitching staff during this win streak.
So I was watching their game on Friday against the Astros, which ended up going 13 innings, which, is an anomaly in 2020 with the extra innings rule.
Yes.
And unbelievably, it took until the 4th inning of extra innings for anybody to score a run, which is unprecedented considering you have a free runner in scoring position to start the inning. But Jake Diekman ended up pitching a scoreless inning in extras, and then Wendelken. What's his first name? What are the initials? JD, JB,
JP.
Okay. Well, anyway, he pitched 3 innings. He did allow a run, but that's okay because the A's ended up winning anyway. Allowed 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. He looked really impressive. Also, in the 13th, the A's were down to their last strike, and Austin Allen, rookie catcher, I believe, sliced one up the middle towards the left side. Yeah, catcher, to tie the game. And then with 2 outs, Marcus Semien hit a walk-off single. So, that was a really impressive. If you just go back and look at that piece of hitting there from Austin Allen, he got a good piece of that ball, and he took it right into left center, which is awesome. And it was a great game for the A's. Obviously, they won. I actually had the exact same stat on my notes about the bullpen FIP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would imagine because I did have a lot of notes on the Athletics, so some crossover.
The one thing I had that you didn't have, since August 1st, their pitching as a whole is nearly a full win better than everyone else, according to Fangraphs.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of their.
They're 2.5, the next is 1.6.
Yeah, and I think it's like the Indians under them or something. Yeah, they've been absolutely excellent. And we didn't include any of the batting statistics, but I did look at them, and they're like in top 5 in a lot of categories for like during this winning streak. So it's not just the starting staff and the bullpen.
What is their if they beat Houston, they have a 5-game lead over the Rangers for second place.
Yeah, they do.
By far the biggest, the widest. Well, actually not by far. The Cubs are up by 4 games in the NL Central, but outside of that, that is by far the biggest division gap, and it is the Oakland A's.
Yeah, and we didn't have the Astros in the notes, but I mean, if they lose today and they're 6-9,
Problem.
a quarter through of the way through the season, not only is it a problem, but also like if the offense is not doing well, that's a very bad look for them.
You're fueling all the haters and proving them right.
Yeah.
What you cannot do. Because I honestly bought that this offense would be just fine without knowing what pitch is coming. But based on what we've seen so far, especially from the guys at the top of that lineup, the Springers, the Altuves, the Bregmans, Correa's been very good, but other than that, I mean, they're all hitting under the Mendoza line.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic there. And, I guess also losing Justin Verlander is going to have an effect. But, 6-9, not something to, if they lose today, of course, 6-9 is not something to press the panic button about. But if they continue this pace for the next, week or so, that's a problem.
Well, they got the Giants this week at home, and then on the weekend they play Seattle at home. So, I mean, definitely competition that you should beat if you're Houston. So, I mean, I think this week is huge for Houston. Like, they could really lose the division this week if they don't win against the Giants or the Mariners at home.
Yeah, is one of them like a 4-game series?
I don't know.
Yeah, because if it's 6 games, you got to go 4-2 at least. And if it's 7, you want to go 5-2.
I think they have a 3-game set against the Giants. And then do they play Thursday? They do not. No. Okay, so it's 6 games. So yeah, you got to go 4-2.
You got to go at least 4-2 there if you're the Astros.
No excuse.
Yeah, no excuses. Especially now. But yeah, the Athletics are bringing the pain train to the rest of the West, and if they win today, as of this recording, they would be 12-4, which is huge, big time for them. Yeah. And some other teams in the West that are riding pretty hot. Another team is the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
And we talked about them in our last episode as well. How their pitching staff has really, really improved. And
I guess they keep giving us reason to talk about us, which I love.
Yeah. So, I was ready to kind of pump the tires on the Rockies some more, but also I looked at their recent schedule and I realized outside of the Athletics, they haven't really played the highest competition. They're kind of doing what they're supposed to, which is very good. But I'm trying to think.
Well, they beat the Padres too, though. Like, didn't they beat the Padres 2 out of 3?
They did beat the Padres when the Padres were hot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. So I guess the question is,
when did they play the Dodgers? I think that's the question everyone wants to know.
Yeah, are we believing in the Rockies? They're probably, as of now, they're probably a favorite to make the playoffs. I don't know what their their playoff probability is, but they're probably above 50% to make the playoffs. But are we thinking that they could possibly make a postseason run at this point?
So I actually have a few notes. Before I get into them, I think what's best for baseball is having the Rockies, Dodgers, and Padres all in the playoffs. It's very possible. Yeah. I mean, two of them are pretty much guaranteed. I don't think the Giants or the Diamondbacks are going to make any sort of run, especially at this point. The Dodgers are a shoo-in. I think it's going to be between the Rockies and Padres for that 4th through 6th seed, and then maybe one of them can snag the 7th or 8th. Because, I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. is an electric factory. The Rockies pitching has been really intriguing. Last week we talked about Sonny Gray, or not Sonny. Why am I saying Sonny Gray? Herman Marquez, John Gray. That's why I said Sonny Gray, and Kyle Freeland. Antonio Senzatella is also doing extremely well. Also, last night, this guy didn't start the game, but another 5-hitter, Jeffman, pitched 3 shutout innings and got a win. That's big time. I mean, that's a guy who was a big name prospect. You got him in the Troy Tulowitzki trade. You need him to step up, and if he's doing that, I mean, this pitching staff, the sky's the limit. So I do have a few notes. Coming into Sunday, the Rockies as a team had a 2.88 ERA and a 2.6 FWAR. And oh, by the way, If you want to know the home road splits, because everyone does, it does play to the usual favor. Flat 4 ERA at home, 1.74 on the road, and I get it. You know, the Rocky Mountain air, it's thin, the ball travels, it makes sense. They have a 2.92 FIP on the road and a 3.71 at home. There's a random dog there's a dog that is right now behind me. I think it's a neighbor's dog. I think they just ran into the yard. I'm in a little screened in area here. Anyway, that was the neighbor's dog that just like ran into my yard. Now the kids are trying to find it. Where was I? Oh, the Rockies. They have a 2.92 FIP on the road and a 3.71 FIP at home. So, I mean, it does suggest that they are playing over their heads, and I think that's completely fair. I mean, 11-4 if they lose this game to the Mariners, to which they are down to their final 3 outs, you know, is a fair thing to say. But in a 60-game season, like 11-4 gives you a really good shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, I just looked at FanGraphs, and right now their playoff probability is at 74.9%.
Yeah.
Which is very good to see if you're a supporter of the Rockies. Yeah, and you know, I don't have too many notes because you know I talked about I talked about that pitching staff last week, but they are very, very intriguing, and I do like that you bring up the point that you want, you know, for the baseball viewer, you do want the Dodgers, Rockies, and Padres all in the playoffs because there's a lot of star power in there. The Dodgers, of course, there's countless guys, you know, Bellinger, Betts, Buehler, you know, Muncy, Turner, all those guys, Kershaw, playoff redemption maybe. Then you got the Padres, you got Tatis Jr., you got Machado, love him or hate him, he's an exciting player, especially defensively. And then the Rockies, you got Story, who's one of the best shortstops in the game. You got Arenado, who's consistently been one of the best third basemen in the game. You have Charlie Blackmon, who is excellent, especially offensively. And then you have the pitching staff, which is also very intriguing. So you have a lot of star power in that National League West. And if all of them can make the playoffs and create some cool moments that, you know, you can put on a commercial or something, that's a big win for baseball. So that is good that you brought that point up. And I think this segues. What was that?
I have a thought. If you're the Rockies, do you tank for the 8th seed? Because you don't have home field advantage, and you know your pitchers do better on the road. Also, if there's no fans in the playoffs, you don't have the pressure of having the opposing crowd, you know, cheering loudly against you. And, you know, you don't have the pressure of having the Rocky Mountain Air, because the pitchers are the X factor. We've seen throughout all of Rockies history, the only times the teams are good is when they have good pitching. They can have all the offense they want, but they always have pitching that can't handle the Rocky Mountain Air. This year they have good pitching, and they're 11-4 if they lose this game to the Mariners. Let's say 11-3 right now. If you're staying away from your home as much as possible without having to face the away fans, you're kind of in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, if they did any tanking, they would have to do it like it as soon as they like clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah, they just like lose out.
Yeah, because you can't try to be an.
I guess I worded that the wrong way. Like, do you maybe sacrifice the 1 and 2 in the division to the Dodgers and Padres, and then maybe settle for one of those wild card spots?
You definitely can't plan on it early in the season.
But I mean, if that situation plays out, I don't think that's the worst case scenario for Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, I guess the only problem would be like obviously the Rockies hitters do better when they're at Coors, but I haven't looked at the splits much this year. But traditionally, they're always better at Coors. But I mean, if you're like 40 games into the season and you have a better record on the road, maybe that could be a thing that happens. I'm not sure. It would be a real Hail Mary, but it would be crazy to see if that actually happened.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I think the how about that, or I think the Rockies talk leads into a good how about that segment. I'll start because my first player that I wanted to talk about is indeed a Colorado Rocky. So, and with how about that, usually you'll see like some highlights on Twitter of a guy who's hot right now. A good example of that would be Fernando Tatis Jr. or Aaron Judge. You see that they're hot, but a guy I haven't really been seeing on social media a lot, but a guy who has been one of the best players in baseball for the past week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, is Charlie Blackmon. Charlie Blackmon, since July 29th, Charlie Blackmon is hitting .550. He's hitting .550 since July 29th with a 1443 OPS and a 282 weighted runs created plus. Also, since July 29th, which is 10 games, he has had 18 RBI. And his average, so since July 29th, his average ranks first. His OPS also ranks first, minimum 20 plate appearances. His weighted runs created plus also ranks first, minimum 20 plate appearances. So even the weighted stats give him the nod as the best offensive player because, sometimes
those are park adjusted.
Yeah, those are park adjusted, and he still ranks first there. So park adjusted, he's still been the best. And also his RBI are tied for first since July 29th, and his wins above replacement is tied for first. And during this time frame, during this 10-game time frame, he is 7 for 8 with a walk and a sacrifice fly with runners in scoring position. That is where the RBI are coming from. 18 RBI in 10 games. That is because he is 7 for 8, which is an .875 average with runners in scoring position during this time frame. So here we go.
That was a good one. Yeah.
One for Charlie Blackmon there. So I have 3 guys that I'm looking at. So I'm gonna switch it over to you before I get to the next 2.
I only have one. Jake Cronenworth played over 500 career minor league games. He was drafted in the 7th round by the Tampa Bay Rays in 2015. Kind of grinded through the minor leagues. As soon as he was about to get there, he ends up being a piece in the Tommy Pham Hunter Renfroe trade. So now he's on the San Diego Padres. And he made his debut this season. Coming into Sunday, he had 6 extra base hits in his first 9 major league games. 2 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs. So this is a guy that can, hit it. He can hit it over the fence. He can hit into the gaps. He's got speed. He can do anything. And he's a middle infielder too. So, he's probably good at defense. He is coming into Sunday, slashing .333, .357, .778 for a 1135 OPS. And also his expected batting average and his expected slugging are both better than his actual ones. So he could be doing better. And he's hitting the ball well enough to be doing better, I guess is what I should say. His hard hit percentage is 50%, which if he qualified would be in the 86th percentile. And he's also 2 for 3 with a double with runners in scoring position. So that is Jake Cronenworth from the San Diego Padres. That is my how about that for the week.
There we go. A good wholesome story there for for Daniel's how about that. So my second how about that player is maybe my favorite player in baseball, Trevor Bauer. He's been unbelievable in his first 3 starts. So all 3 of his starts have consisted of less than 4 hits allowed, less than 3 walks, and 7+ strikeouts. He is the second pitcher in baseball history to have 3 such games in the team's first 15 games.
How about that?
So he's the second pitcher in baseball history. The first one to do that was Pedro Martinez.
How about that?
Was that in 2000 or 1999?
It was actually when he was a Met, 2005. But that was still
Right.
that was
Fine.
still kind of prime Pedro, and
Yeah.
I guess that was one thing that separated that 2005 season. And my last how about that player is Fernando Tatis Jr. If you're not living under a rock, you've known that this guy is red hot. But what he's doing is also very historic. So he has 7 games. So he homered again today. So this is updated. And this is Sunday, by the way. He had another home run on Sunday. He has 7 games with a home run now. And those are tied for the most such games with a home run in the team's first 16 games by a player younger than 22 in baseball history.
How about that?
I know that's a little worried, but basically he's on the best pace for someone younger than 22 in baseball history. Also, he has 12 games as of now, as of Sunday, the end of Sunday. He has 12 games with an extra base hit, and those are the most such games in the team's first 16 games by a player younger than 22 in baseball history.
How about that?
Again, he's on the best pace for a guy younger than 22 in baseball history in terms of home runs and extra base hits. Even when he's not homering, he's getting a double, getting a triple. He's been incredible this year. Definitely watch him for his entire career, pretty much. But that was our Sunday, August 9th edition of.
How about that?
And now we are going to go from the highs to the lows and do some slightly alarming statistics. What do you have?
I want you to go first because I'm really excited about mine.
All right, I'll go. So my slightly alarming statistic, unfortunately, is coming from a guy who was one of my players to look for.
Slightly alarming.
One of my players to look for. This guy is on the Indians. His name is Oscar Mercado. And I was saying, if this guy can make the jump offensively, he can be one of the best position players on the Indians without people even realizing it, because this guy, he can steal bases, and he can become one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. And he's already had a couple of defensive highlights, so kind of proving my point there. But unfortunately, offensively, he's been terrible to start the season. He is a 285 OPS coming into Sunday. His strikeout rate has gone from 17.4% to 30.1%. Not great.
Slightly alarming.
And his, not even his expected statistics are good. His xWOBA is in the 4th percentile. So he's basically playing to his level in terms of that. And of the 155 players with at least 43 plate appearances coming into Sunday, of the 155 players with 43 plus plate appearances, only 2 have no extra base hits. And Oscar Mercado is one of those 2 guys. And of 208 players with 35 plus plate appearances, his OPS ranks dead last.
Slightly alarming.
So, the Indians have been very bad offensively coming to start the season. I thought they were going to be a more complete lineup this year, and Oscar Mercado is one of the guys that's kind of anchoring them so far. And I would look for him to improve because he looked pretty good last year. But as of now, he's having a terrible year to start 2020.
So, I had the Indians winning the division, and in part because of how deep their lineup could be. And a lot of guys, such as Mercado, haven't shown it. This is not my guy, but Jordan Luplow is my guy in the Indians to look for. He just got his first hit yesterday, and it was a home run to snap an 0 for 21. Also, Acuna just went deep again.
Oh no! Wow.
Yeah. His third home run of the day, second of the game because it's a doubleheader.
So that might be a future how about that if he keeps this going.
Because he started slow. So I went completely off the grid with slightly alarming. This is not necessarily a negative thing, but I think it's something that's slightly alarming in a different sense. So, the Rangers ballpark, right? I mean, it looks like you can go in there and buy a John Deere tractor as well as watch a baseball game. The way it looks compared to what the blueprint showed, not very far off and kind of a meme. That's not what I'm talking about though. So I started looking into how different the style of play is, in the new ballpark compared to what it was last year in the old Globe Life Park. And in 2019, Rangers ballpark had the 5th best OPS of all ballparks with an 806. So far, this new ballpark, Globe Life Field, the indoor one, has the 8th worst OPS, a 665. And, I get that some people might be saying, like, well, the Rangers have they're a really good pitching team. They got Lance Lynn, they got Mike Minor, Colby Allard looked really good yesterday. They have, guys like that. Fair. They were not a bad pitching team last year, though. And last year, Globe Life Park had the 2nd worst ERA of all ballparks with a 5.24. This year, it has by far the best ERA of any ballpark with a 2.29. The next best, I believe, is 2.88. So, the ball is flying a lot more in Globe Life Park, the old one, than it is this year. And I was watching a lot of the Angels and Rangers series this weekend, and I noticed if you go back and look at some of those batted balls, there was a lot of contact that I thought, not necessarily that it was gone off the bat, but I thought it was going at least to the warning tracker, would one-hop the wall, and it would fall like 50 feet short. And I started thinking, like, what's the deal here? Like, what's the difference? Is there really a difference between playing in a oven and playing in a building with AC? And apparently there is, and I'm going to chalk it up to that. So that is my slightly alarming statistic for the week.
Slightly alarming.
But also, if you're a pitcher, if you're a pitcher, but if you're a hitter,
Slightly alarming.
Exactly. I'm starting to think that John Daniels may have built this team in this ballpark around pitching. I mean, like, if you go back and look at a lot of the games that they've played, it's been a lot of low-scoring affairs. The first game ever played there, I think, was 1-0, in fact. The only run came on was it a Rougned Odor home run? I think it was. Or maybe it was a double or a single or something like that. It took 3 games for the first home run in the new ballpark, too. Yeah, so that... No, it's not. I didn't necessarily highlight the negatives of a player, but I thought that was slightly alarming, Chris.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, Tropicana Field is another place that's indoors, and I think it's kind of known as a pitcher's park, even though the dimensions are somewhat hitter friendly. And I think maybe that is a thing. Like, a place with AC might have an effect on, like, the travel of the baseballs. But yeah, I mean, Texas Rangers ballpark was known for, it's humid there, first of all, and, it was known for kind of having a jet stream to right center field. That, this new ballpark has none of that because it's inside and has air conditioning and stuff.
I actually have one more quick point to make. The park, Chris, like the park factor numbers on Baseball Reference for each stadium?
Yeah.
And how they normally average out to be 100?
Yeah, I know that.
So right now, the 1 year park factor number for Globe Life Field, if it's over 100, it favors batters. If it's under 100, it favors pitchers. It's 79. It is 79.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I know it's a small sample size and it's probably going to even out, but I mean, normally if it's under 100, it's like 90. It's no more than like 95, no less than 95, but it is down to 79 right now.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, it should definitely, like, balance out at some point. Maybe.
No, it is. It is so lopsided as far as this is. By the way, did you see that Joe Adele error today in that park?
No, I did not.
Oh, Joe Adele. Nick Solak hit a ball into right field, and it bounced off of. It was a routine play for Joe Adele. It bounced off his glove and went over to the fence, and it was a home run.
Oh, it was a Josh Reddick. Remember in the 2017
Yes.
playoffs?
No, it was beyond Josh Reddick. Like, it was even worse than that. Like, he was under the ball and he should have caught it. Like, Reddick at least was on the run, I believe, right? When he caught that, or when he tried to catch that.
He was.
Yeah, no, Joe Adele was standing flat under the ball. Like, if you can look up this highlight right now, definitely look at it. And if you haven't seen it at home, it was slightly alarming. Joe Adele, by the way, I know it's, I'm not going to judge him based off of a few games, but hasn't exactly got the start that he wanted to yet. I was really hopeful that if the Angels called him up, he could sort of – I mean, you can't make that much of an impact, but I feel like maybe, his presence and how much he's been anticipated could motivate the rest of the offense. It hasn't exactly done that, especially this weekend. Doesn't help that they're playing in that park that doesn't play to hitters at all. But, yeah.
Yeah, weird how that works. I mean, I feel like indoor you'd think it would be pretty neutral. You'd think the park factor would be like right around 100.
Well, I figured maybe there'd be a drop on offense because, like you're playing, in the old park, you're consistently playing in like 95-degree weather. Like, yeah, of course the ball is going to fly. I didn't realize it'd be this drastic at all.
Yeah, I thought it would be pretty normal, but maybe the way the Rangers built the team was kind of deceptive. Maybe the offense wasn't as good as they thought it was, but I mean the home road splits weren't as drastic, like very drastic back then. So I don't think it was like, and I mean people would have noticed that before.
No, and the Rangers are about to be in second place once the Astros lose. So I mean they're going to be in a playoff spot as of now.
Yeah, how about that?
Love it. Love to see that.
That's 2020 there.
All right. Do you have any more points you want to hit?
No, I think we're ready to preview the upcoming week. I don't have any players to look for, but I think there's some interesting series happening in the upcoming week. Yeah, you got Braves, Yankees.
You got a rematch of the 2016 World Series, Cubs, Indians. This week, you got John Lester versus Mike Clevenger on Tuesday. Does that start the series? It does. And then you got Hendricks versus Carrasco on Wednesday.
Wow, those are some good matchups.
Yeah. Yep. And that's it. It's just a 2-game series. That's one I'd like to watch. Let's see. You
got Dodgers, Padres again.
You do in LA this time. The Rangers are still going to be home if you want to look at the lack of offense in that ballpark.
Yeah.
In Seattle. Yeah, I mean, I think the most intriguing thing is I'd say Cubs, Indians, and Braves, Yankees.
Yeah, Braves, Yankees should be a good one. You got two, I know the Marlins are in first place technically right now, but you probably got the two top dogs of each division going against each other. Cubs, Indians is good for the pitching matchups for sure. And, Dodgers, Padres, the Dodgers won the last series that they had. That was one of our series to look for last week. And they're rematching this week. So, maybe the Padres can kind of have some redemption and maybe win the series and maybe legitimize themselves again. I think, they're winning right now. They'll be 9-7 at the end of Sunday. And the Dodgers, are they playing right now? The Dodgers, they're 10-5. Right?
Yeah, they're playing right now, but they're probably going to win.
So that should be interesting. I mean, if the Padres sweep, I think they're like winning that division, but that's hard to sweep the Dodgers.
The Dodgers already won. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a specific player at all to look for?
I do not. I mean, I guess I feel like we haven't mentioned this guy, but Donovan Solano from San Francisco, he's hitting 455 with an 1111 OPS. Pretty good.
Yeah, he's carrying that offense.
I wanted to wait a little bit, but I mean, I feel like now that you asked, I might as well just let the cat out of the bag on that one.
Oh, Donovan Solano.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
an interesting one. So that leads to the conclusion of the episode. Hope you enjoyed this Sunday or technically Monday edition of the show. Later.
Whoa. There was a fight in the A's-Astros game. How am I just seeing this? Hold on, who was this? Ramon Laureano charged the Astros dugout like Amir Garrett on first base. Oh my God. Yeah, let's go. The first Astros fight of 2020. It came as they were getting swept. How beautiful is that?
Wow. That's
awesome. I love that. What a power move. You're on first base. Like you've already gotten a partial victory. Now you're gonna fight an entire team. I love it. Dude, I just gained so much respect for it. Didn't go very well for him. He kind of got pushed to the ground immediately and didn't really get back up. I respect the hell out of Ramon Laureano. I love it.
Yeah, I gotta see this. I mean, this was happening mid-recording, so it's not like we missed it. It was just happening as we were recording. I mean, so I'm guessing maybe the A's also hit the Astros, and then the Astros retaliated.
Well, I mean, it's tough to say. We don't know much. I mean, I think we know a lot of the backstory. I mean, I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. I'm kind of just looking right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have the A's finishing in second in both 2018 and 2019, and you didn't know what the Astros were doing then, but
yeah, I dig it though.
We've talked about this. Oh my God, we've talked about how when John Heyman was tweeting out Joe Kelly wasn't even on the 2017 Dodgers. The Astros did not affect the season of only the 2017 Dodgers. They affected the season of everyone that they played, and they played the Athletics a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, unfortunately the listeners will not get the full story from us. I guess they'll have to find it somewhere else. But
Justin Garneau made a really nice tackle on Laureano. Like he was charging him full speed, and Garneau was kind of stumbling up to him. He still got him to the ground pretty easily. So I guess credit there. I mean, I guess the Astros have probably had to train, right?
Yeah. I think Carlos Correa does some boxing.
He's a UFC. He is a MMA podcast, so of course he's a great fighter.
Yeah. Both of us are excellent.
I feel bad for Alex Bregman, by the way. Alex Bregman has been the one guy. When Joe Kelly threw at him, he just took it. He was like, "Yep, this is it. This is what we're doing." I feel bad for him in this situation. He's probably just "Man, I gotta do this again. For real. It's the second time in 2 weeks. How long is this gonna go?" And this is gonna continue into next season too, because there's a lot of teams that won't get to play the Astros this year.
Oh yeah, I mean the Yankees are, number one.
Yankees are. Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe the Red Sox will have a problem. I mean, they got eliminated at one point, but I mean, I guess winning in 2018 was the revenge before they even knew it was the revenge. But
well, cheers to Ramon Laureano for being the hero that we needed. He and Joe Kelly will make a great team.
Yeah.
How many games? Okay, wait. Let's just do this. How many games does he get suspended?
Well, luckily he did not throw any projectiles.
How many games did Amir Garrett get suspended when he did pretty much the same thing?
I gotta say that's a 6-gamer. I think that's a 6-gamer.
I'm gonna look up how many games Amir Garrett got suspended first. After that,
yeah, you gotta think.
Okay, I think he got 6. Yeah. I'm gonna go 6 as well. I think that's a good number.
Yeah, I feel like 6-game suspensions get handed out a lot for like fights.
Yeah, I think 6 games is the right one.
Yeah, fun activities going on over in Oakland. But that leads to the conclusion of our Sunday or Monday edition of the show to be named later, recapping the weekend of baseball here from August 7th to August 9th. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and want to watch the show, head on over to our YouTube channel. It is called STBNL with Chris Gianta and Daniel Curran. If you want to follow us on Twitter, follow me at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel at Daniel_Curran. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, follow our show Instagram. It is at STBNL Podcast.
Hold on. Okay, I'm looking at the video now. Ramon Laureano got hit in the head. Oh, no, he got hit, like, on the front of the shoulder, but it was by one of the Astros rookies, so it's kind of stupid. Like, there wasn't any intent behind it, but he got mad because, by default, it's the Astros, and he aimed near his head. So then he walks – the umpires walk him down the first base, and then they keep yelling at him. I mean, that's kind of oh, no, he aimed at his back. Never mind. He didn't – okay, he hit him in the back, but, like, it was one of the rookies, so – There's no intent behind that. I still love Ramon Laureano for doing that because everyone wants to fight the Astros right now. Anyone's looking for any excuse to do it. So there's that.
As someone who enjoys watching some physical altercations, I'll tip my cap to anyone who just goes over to a dugout and tries to fight.
The greater Houston population.
Yeah, like no matter the like.
As long as no one gets like seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Like career-threatening. Like it's okay.
Yeah, I like that. It's visually I enjoy that. I enjoy a nice physical altercation.
I kind of wish Amir Garrett was on like one of those teams that the Astros screwed out of something. Imagine if he was on the Dodgers.
My God.
Yeah, that's must-watch TV because like he would fight. He would fight Jim Crane. He would fight A.J. Hinch. He would fight Jeff Lunau. Like, he would fight anybody. He would have fought Derek Fisher, who did nothing except score the game-winning run when he was pinch running. He would have fought anyone on that Astros team and probably beat him.
Yeah, he would have fought Jim Crane. He would have fought everybody.
I'd say the only thing off limits is Dusty Baker. Keep that. We must protect that man at all costs.
Yeah, he's a legend.
He didn't do anything. He did nothing wrong. And also, he was like the most apologetic out of everybody in spring training. It's like, Dusty, you did nothing wrong, bud. Like, we are not.
All he was doing that year was leaving out Max Scherzer for like 135 pitches.
Yeah, that's what we want an apology for.
Yeah.
I think Washington's fine with that now, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they've made their peace there.
Yeah. Yep.
But hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you on Thursday.